On this episode of the Turnbuckle, Nick Khan talks about Vince McMahon's return, Stephanie, Tony Khan, and more. Smackdown reaches the top ratings on Friday night, and we get a backstage injury update on Logan Paul. Folks, ready your favorite wrestling movies, some wrestling news, because it's time for the Turnbuckle. Nick Khan sat down with Bill Simmons for a wide-ranging interview covering everything involving Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H in the last week. On Simmons' podcast, Khan spoke with Simmons for over an hour regarding the events of the last week. When asked if he thought the last week was insane, Khan didn't think so, seeing it as someone from the inside. He also said it was his viewpoint that McMahon would always eventually return despite announcing his retirement in July. When you're on the inside, you see things that may be coming, he said. My thought was that there's only one boss in the company, and that ain't me, referring to Vince McMahon. I think it was always my point of view. Stephanie's point of view, he would come back. The way he played it to me was smart in that he went away for 5-6 months, which people, meaning the audience, seems to like when somebody does that, and he came back and took control back of his company as a company shareholder. So it is the public's company as a publicly traded company. But with that, the controlling share gave him a lot of authority, and he used it, and I applaud him for doing so. When asked why McMahon would return when there's a risk of hurting the company's image, Khan pointed out a similar situation regarding Ray Rice and the NFL, in which people were asking NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell to step down. Well, no advertiser has fled. Ratings aren't down. The product seems to continue to build. Why would he resign? Why would he do that? Khan said in reference to Goodell, I think it's just a 3-mile radius of LA thing. Hey, step down. And you have to sort of be punished for it. It didn't used to be that way. So I think for somebody like Vince, and referring to Simmons, you and he are two different people, but you're both founder CEOs, and I think founder CEOs are different from regular CEOs. So to me, WWE's Vince, Vince is WWE, and we're going to do the best we can to keep building the company. When Simmons pointed out the perception that McMahon had brought in former co-presidents Michelle Wilson and George Barrios back to the company to put people he likes on the board of directors, Khan said bringing in two people that understand how Vince McMahon is the majority shareholder and will be the one in charge of facilitating a sale was the determining factor. As a controlling shareholder, Vince is going to run that process. So to have board members who understood that with the controlling shareholder, this is going to be the way it is, and people who would embrace this, I think that was a determining factor. Khan pointed out the misperception always was that WWE had a board of directors that was puppeteered by Vince McMahon, but that has since proven to not be the case. Khan said that the rumors regarding a sale to Saudi Arabia last week were 100% fake, 100% made up. So in this process, Vince McMahon is there to oversee it. It's his controlling share. I'm involved in it. Triple H is involved in it. The board's obviously involved in it with Triple H being on the board, as I have the good fortune of being in as well. And we're going to see how it plays out. It should not be a lengthy process. If you're looking at it, connecting the dots, it made absolutely no sense. Khan added in regard to the rumors. In terms of what the actual process will be, we're just starting it. He just doesn't want to get the WWE in trouble. That's pretty much what he's saying. I mean, to be fair though, he is giving an opinion on everything, right? I do like that he's not necessarily trying to give as vague of an answer as humanly possible. He is giving an answer. He also supported the fact that the Saudi Arabia rumors were 100% fake, right? He is talking about how it makes sense that you want to have people who know how to do the sale, I guess. I understand where he's coming from in that regard. I understand how he's like, listen, it doesn't make sense to have people on board who don't necessarily know how to facilitate the entire thing. And he also, very interestingly, was like, hey, since I was in the inside, I kind of saw the whole Vince McMahon return coming, which honestly, it's very surprising. Is that not surprising to anybody else? Or something? There's just something about that where it's like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. Really? That's very interesting. At the end of the day, man, it's very interesting, his opinions and his process, right, of how he goes about certain news topics and everything. So I don't know, man. Listen, at the end of the day, hopefully nothing comes out about him that's negative or anything, because otherwise it's going to be a real swift blow to WWE if they end up losing a guy like Nick Khan. Next, we're going to talk about Smackdown and how it climbs to the top rating spot on Friday night. Viewership numbers for last Friday's Smackdown and Rampage shows have been revealed. Smackdown took place at the Rec Center, I hope I'm saying that correctly, in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The show was headlined by a singles match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It also featured a WWE Intercontinental Championship match. Gunther successfully defended his title against Braun Strowman. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics is reporting the January 13th episode of Smackdown drew an overall viewership average of 2,326,000. Of those viewers, 717,000 were in the 18 to 49 age range, which shakes out to a .55 P1849 rating. Total viewership is up 3% from the January 6th episode. The 18 to 49 demo number also increased by 3%. Showbuzz Daily reports Smackdown tied ABC Shark Tank for first place among the primetime network broadcasts in the P1849 demo. It was noted that the two NBA games on cable network ESPN actually topped all of the charts in the key demo on Friday night. As for Rampage, the show had an average total viewership of 513,000. The show took in 170,000 viewers from the 1849 demo, netting a .13 rating in that category. Showbuzz Daily reports that Rampage ranked 24th for the night in the key demo among cable originals and placed 39th if you include primetime broadcasts. SmackDown doing its thing, man. SmackDown is doing its thing, okay? It is definitely blowing Raw right out of the water, all right? Now, I wanted to talk about this because I read on Reddit last night, there was like a snippet talking about I don't know. I'm not even gonna bother because it's one of those articles that you read and it's like, oh, you're just saying this to just get a rise out of people. There's a part of me that's like, oh, but what if it's true? And it's like, but look at the numbers. You know, numbers don't lie. And I know that there's people out there that don't like to go off of the numbers and everything. And who knows? This is what I'm saying. I feel like it probably doesn't have anything to do with the numbers. I feel like it might have something to do with the deal. Maybe they're not able to negotiate a better deal or something. Maybe there's something else in the works. But I wanted to talk about it just because I feel like it sounds, how do I put this? It sounds bad. It sounds bad. But at the end of the day, man, I really don't think it's that big of a deal. And with numbers like that, I don't understand how Fox or SmackDown or anybody could potentially be worrying about it. Finally, we've got a backstage injury update on Logan Paul. WWE has reportedly reached out to Logan Paul to either wrestle a match or make an appearance at the upcoming Royal Rumble Premium Live event. According to Fightful Select, as of last week, WWE was hoping to have Logan train for an upcoming match, but the news outlet had not heard any solid details on the plan WWE put together for the crossover superstar. Regardless, WWE is reportedly, quote, hoping a celebrity talent is back in time en route to WrestleMania 39. Paul, who last appeared in a critically acclaimed match against Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel, had announced several post-match injuries after the event in Saudi Arabia, which also called into question his immediate in-ring future. However, Fightful's report added that Paul's injuries were either a work or just being conservative, as it was impossible to diagnose that torn ligaments and muscles in his knee so quick after the match. Subsequently, Jake Paul revealed that his brother's injuries were not as serious as initially expected and that Logan was rehabbing MCL and meniscus injuries in Los Angeles. As such, Fightful's report would indicate that Logan Paul is either cleared for an in-ring return or is close to being cleared. Since his last WWE match, Logan faced severe backlash on social media for launching his NFT-based game called Crypto Zoo, which according to YouTuber CoffeeZilla was the biggest scam and not functional despite the fact that millions of dollars had been raised from investors. Paul would subsequently release a video disputing the allegations and threatening legal actions against CoffeeZilla. However, he would eventually delete the video and apologize to his followers, investors, and critics. Despite Paul's role in the alleged Crypto Zoo scam, Fightful's report added that the controversy has in no way factored into WWE's decision to use him. I was under the assumption that Logan Paul probably wasn't going to be coming back anytime soon in regards to the whole Crypto Zoo thing. He probably isn't. I honestly have no idea anymore. Again, I don't really think WWE's too worried about it. So listen, at the end of the day, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see when Logan Paul's actually going to show up. He might show up at the Rumble. He might actually be in the Rumble. Now, that'll be very hilarious considering the fact that everybody else is announcing it. If Logan Paul just made a surprise entrance, that would be even better. Anyway, look, the point is, all right, Logan Paul is potentially going to come back at some point, and we're just going to have to wait and see when. What do we talk about? Nick Khan talked about a bunch of different topics in regards to WWE and Vince McMahon and how he feels about Stephanie stepping down and everything like that. Again, you can go on F4W online to read more about that. He didn't really say a whole lot of anything. I mean, obviously, he answered the questions, right? He wasn't trying to keep it vague and everything like that. But at the same time, he was also answering everything in a very specific manner as to obviously not step on anybody's toes or anything like that. And again, I respect it. It's what you got to do. But at the same time, I feel like he's doing that on purpose just so he doesn't like rock the boat a little bit too much. Smackdown was one of the top shows on Friday night. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, listen, WWE, listen, as of right now, WWE is doing really good. You could definitely put a lot of the credit on Triple H. I mean, it goes without saying that Triple H was partly, I would argue that he was mostly responsible for SmackDown and Raw, bringing in the amount of numbers that they're bringing in, everything like that. And again, it really goes without saying that I highly doubt that Fox is really I highly doubt that Fox is like thinking about not negotiating a new deal with SmackDown. I'm pretty sure that Fox and SmackDown are fine, right? You don't really have to worry too much, and if the numbers are anything to go by, I highly doubt that SmackDown is going anywhere from Fox anytime soon. And listen, Logan Paul, I mean, it sounds like he's doing all right. Last time I read, he was in physical therapy, so I mean, it seems like we're just gonna have. It's just a matter of like when, a matter of when we're gonna see Logan Paul back in the ring. And I thought the whole Crypto Zoo thing was gonna be stopping him, and I thought the WWE felt some type of way about that, and I feel like I read that at some point, but I think after when I was reading it, it wasn't really like WWE were too concerned about it. I think in the article, it was pretty much just WWE being like, look, we're deal with that, all right. Once that's done, then you can come back over. So that sounds like that's what's happening. So like I said, we're just gonna have to wait and see when Logan Paul's gonna end up showing back. So it could be the Royal Rumble. It's really hard to say. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow. And as always, big hugs. Big hugs all around.